Hello and welcome back to another BBA case study. I'm delighted to be joined by Dave Raval from LoftZone. Dave, how are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Fantastic. Absolute pleasure to have you on this BBA case study. Right, let's start where we always start, with the welcome. And can you introduce yourself?
Sure thing. So my name's Dave Raval. I'm the Managing Director of LoftZone. And I took the business in 2012 from a good idea on a piece of paper to today where we're the world's largest provider of energy efficient loft storage and access solutions.
Wow, fantastic. Right, we're on a roll here. So tell me a bit more about that organization. Can you give me a bit of a background into it?
Sure. So LoftZone was invented by a couple of guys called Piers and Paul, who had a good idea in a pub. I mean, literally, right? The pub's called Hen and Chickens. It's near Woking if you want to visit. And Piers is a chartered surveyor, and he used to work for a social landlord. And like many social landlords, they found that when the tenant moved out, the loft insulation had been damaged because the tenant had stored their belongings in the loft and compressed and therefore permanently damaged the insulation. So Piers' boss at the time said, well, go on, Piers, just find something on the market, something we can buy, which will protect the loft insulation to avoid this recurring cost. And Piers couldn't find anything, which is why he met up with Paul and they sketched out the design for our very first product, which is a raised loft flooring system, which we call StoreFloor. And we launched that in 2012. And as I said, that's now been fitted in many different lofts, more than 100,000 in the UK alone.
Nice. Excellent. Love that. Love that backstory. Excellent. I think they drew it on the back of a fag packet as well. When those existed. Yeah. Let's go with that instead. Absolutely. So, you alluded to that product. What product are we talking about today then?
So that is exactly it. We've got lots of other products as well, but our BBA certification is for our StoreFloor product, which is the patented platform we have that goes above loft insulation up to 350 millimeters of loft insulation to protect it and make sure it works properly.
Okay, fantastic. So I know you kind of said this in one of your previous answers in terms of what it does. But how important is that product within the actual construction industry?
Sure. So the reasons we've won so many awards for the product, we've won awards from Oxford University, from the Citizens Advice Bureau, from the Ideal at Home Show, where it was Best Invention of the Year, and we were supported by the Carbon Trust, is because compressed loft insulation is actually a really big problem. Surveys have shown that 80% of people say using the loft is really important. It's either very important or essential because we all live in crowded houses these days and there's not much storage space. When you compress the insulation down, it stops it from working because it works being fluffy and having trapped air in it, typical mineral wool insulation. And we employed the National Physical Laboratory in London to actually test that. And they found that squashing it from the recommended 270 mil down to joist height, so typically 80 or 100 mil, decreased the efficiency of the loft insulation by 50 to 60%. Wow. So that's massive, right? So globally, this is a massive issue that loft insulation hasn't been working as well as it should have been. And so we invented this raised loft flooring system to provide storage and safe access without compressing the insulation. Because at the moment, until we invented the product, people either just removed the insulation for storage or they squashed it with their boxes and boards.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that there's a wider connotation there in terms of what that leads to. You know, colder houses, worse insulation, more heating, more energy consumption, etc., etc. You know, so massively important.
Yes, totally. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're interested in saving your energy bills or climate change or both. Yeah, it's a huge problem globally.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's obviously got its benefits. There's a huge reason and a requirement to have that within the building, housing, construction industry. So why? What led to the requirements of needing a BBA Agrément certificate?
So if you've got a new product, or in our case, actually a whole new industry, because 10 years ago, no one talked about protecting loft insulation. Well, then, so you've got to have some sort of level of assurance to customers that what you're doing makes sense. Is the product safe? Is it strong enough? Are the lofts that it's going to be put into strong enough to take the product? Does it work? Is there a need for it? Is the manufacturing properly quality assured? All these very reasonable questions. And the advantage of using the BBA is that somebody with the independence and the skill to look into these has looked at all those questions and given us a big thumbs up. Right, and so that's vital for customers, particularly when you've got a brand new product.
Mm. Yeah, couldn't agree more. It's that assurance, isn't it? And I think that goes right across the board, from fast-moving consumer goods that are new to the market to within the construction industry and the built environment. The hugely expensive products or anything in between. It's that reassurance, it's that impartiality that gives it that credibility that people look for.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Yeah,
fantastic. So I know you said it's been used, thousands of times on different housings. Have you got any examples or stories, I suppose, that you could you could share with us that highlights the positivity of this product?
Yeah, so vast majority of installations have been in houses, obviously, and either for storage, but often for safe access as well. So lots of buildings nowadays have mechanical and electrical equipment in there. New build houses often have solar inverters or ventilation systems, and by law, there has to be a safe access platform for maintenance. But it's not just houses. We've done schools. We've done retrofits into older schools that have pitched roofs, where again there's M&E equipment in there. Right now, we're doing the design for a museum in Virginia, in the USA, actually. For them, a very old building is about 100 years old, and that again is having a retrofit with more insulation, and we're providing the platform that goes above it. So lots of different examples, not just houses, but the vast majority are.
Yeah, absolutely. But a roof's not just a roof, but I suppose the product itself lends itself to using it in other ways, in other projects and larger scale buildings.
Yes, yeah. So anything with a pitched roof where you want to use the space, if you must have insulation. Please do have insulation, particularly today's day and age. Do that first, but then once you've done that, then protect it so it doesn't get compressed.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's move on to our final section, which is more specifically about the BBA and working with them. So first and foremost, why choose the BBA? There's other options out there that provide testing or certification, but why go to the BBA?
Yeah, so I think there's two answers to that. Firstly, being an inventor and a startup company, arguably that's less important to us now. Now we're more established with lots of products and credibility. But I think the BBA was the premier name in this country, and so that was very important. But secondly, one of our markets is new build houses. It's not the only market. You can put LoftZone into older properties, of course, but for new build houses, no one fits anything unless it's got BBA certification. And so volume house builders do now fit our product, and they need BBA certification. But also, if you're a homeowner and you've moved into a new house, you might find that you want to fit our product, but you want to make sure you don't damage or invalidate the warranty in any way. And again, having the BBA certification, when we go to the big warranty providers and say it's got certified, that's a tick in the box. So again, it provides assurance for the house builders and also the homeowners that the product's going to be fine.
Cool. So from the perspective of a startup, if you like, or smaller organizations looking to become established, I suppose the BBA is a good way to do that.
Yeah, so I'd recommend any entrepreneur, inventor of a new construction product to seriously consider the BBA. Plan early, because honestly, it does take quite a long time to get your certificate, and that's partly because they are quite thorough and diligent in what they look into. So plan early. It's an important differentiator for your product, but it's mainly there to assure what can sometimes be quite a conservative industry. This new product is actually worthwhile and works properly.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so final thoughts then. What does achieving the BBA Agrément Certificate mean for yourself and for the organisation?
So for the organisation, it means clearly that any new build house builder can use our product with assurance and safety, and that's a must for them. So it allows us to be put into new build houses. And for homeowners, it provides them with a level of assurance that the product's good enough for the house when it was built. It's good enough also for retrofit.
Fantastic. That's a great way to end it. Dave, thank you so much for joining me today. Absolute pleasure talking to you.
You too. Thanks very much, Pete.